All right, so it has been brought to my attention that the folder for turning in the essay from last time is still locked because I forgot to go and change the dates when I changed the syllabus when we weren't here. Well, we weren't supposed to be here last week, so that's my fault. I will go in and fix that this afternoon so that people can get stuff turned in. Yes, Chase?
So the first one is still due on the 9th?
Yeah, no, these are going to be due on the days when we work on them now. So, because you should be bringing something to class with you, right? It's like something to work from. So you should be bringing one of these to class along with you to talk over with your group partners. And then, you go home, you work on it a little bit, you tidy it up, and you upload it. Right? That's the idea. That's what we're doing here. So I will get that fixed in Georgia View so that things can get turned in. Okay, so for next time, right, you're going to be working on questions of free will and determinism. Does everybody understand what I mean by these terms, free will and determinism? If we have free will, what does that mean? It's not so much that we're open to experience, right? It's more that if we have free will, right, then we make our own choices about what to do. And the choices that we make matter, right? If we have total free will. So if free will means that we can make our own choices, right, that we're free to choose, what must determinism mean?
Our motivation?
No, determinism actually has nothing really to do with motivation and everything to do with where our impulse to act comes. Well, actually, I guess that does sound like motivation, right? But if you're a determinist, right, what you believe is that everything that happens is already predetermined, right? It's sort of similar to being a fatalist. Or fatalism is a kind of determinism, right? So if you believe in free will, then you believe that you're ultimately responsible for your actions, right? That you make your own choices. If you're a determinist, you believe that something outside of yourself has actually already made those choices for you, and that you're just acting according to its plan, right? All right, so Lily and Xavier, for next time, you guys are going to be working on the essay by Augustine. Alan, Mackenzie, and Cindy, two of whom are here, will be working on Jean-Paul Sartre. Caressa and Chase, you guys will be working on Thomas Hobbes. And Canby, who's not here, and Brian will be working on Harry G. Frankfurt. Okay, so the questions I have for you for next time here. If you're working on Augustine, think about the following. Why does Augustine begin by attacking Cicero's argument against divination? What does the idea of divination have to do with Augustine's larger argument? Do you guys know what divination means?
Isn't that where they believe that they can, not really see the future, but they are in tune with, the world or nature?
Yeah. So if I don't know if any of you have ever had your palm read, or had somebody do a tarot card reading for you or something like that. Right, yeah, these are forms of divination. They're supposed to be, give you a limited means of seeing the future, right? So Augustine starts by talking about divination. So focus on that first. What's he doing with the divination stuff? Secondly, how does Augustine reconcile his belief that God knows everything that will happen in advance with the idea that human beings are free to act as they choose? Third, how does Augustine define fate, will, and necessity? And finally, if you commit a sin and God has foreknowledge that you will do so, who would Augustine say is at fault? You for committing the sin, or God for not stopping you, and why? All right. So, those of you who are working on Sartre, Condemned to be Free. How does Sartre define action? What does Sartre argue is required for an action to occur? Secondly, what is a négatité? What does it have to do with Sartre's definition of action? Third, what does Sartre think is wrong with other theories of free will and of determinism? And finally, does Sartre believe that objects have any meaning in and of themselves? If not, what gives them meaning? Okay. Anybody still need this? Everybody done with this? Can we move along? Okay, great. So, those of you who are working on Thomas Hobbes, Liberty, Necessity, and Chance. So, first, how does Hobbes define human freedom? And what kind of freedom does he argue we always have, with or without a chain of causation? Secondly, right, this is a debate. Hobbes is arguing against an opponent whose initials are marked with a JD every time the opponent is speaking. What position of JD's does Hobbes oppose, and what is his objection to it? And third, do we see Hobbes here applying the problem of free will to real-world situations, and what examples does he use to try to illustrate his point? All right. And finally, those of you who are working on Harry G. Frankfurt's Alternative Possibilities and Moral Responsibility. First, what does Frankfurt mean by the principle of alternative possibilities? How does he call into question conventional thinking on responsibility and blame? Secondly, how does Frankfurt define coercion? What does it have to do with his argument about responsibility? And finally, does Frankfurt believe that we are driven by our own rational decision-making process or by external factors that are outside of our control? All right, so this is what you're working on for next time, right? So for today, here's what I want you guys thinking about. Right. One thing that all the philosophers you read for today have in common is that they're all primarily concerned, at least in this excerpt, with language, right? So the things I want you to focus on in particular are how they believe language is related to thought, and how is language related to objects in the world? Like, what is the relationship between language and the things it describes? All right, so that's today's focus. I see that a not insignificant number of people aren't here. So how many of you are here today working on William of Ockham? How many of you were assigned William of Ockham last time? Just Xavier? You're the only one doing William of Ockham today? How many of you were assigned Descartes? Who was assigned Descartes? Mackenzie and Chase, the two of you? Okay. Who was assigned Locke? Okay, Lily and Cindy. And then who was assigned, who was the last one? John Stuart Mill. You, okay. All right. So I guess, yeah, William of Ockham people over here. John Stuart Mill, you can stay where you are. Locke people over there. Descartes people over here. So you must be working with Xavier then. You must be working